Hey, how you doing, guys? Decided that I'm gonna try to talk about things that I have experienced and things that I think. A lot of it is going to be based in mysticism, right? A lot of it's going to be martial arts, especially traditional martial arts like karate and Wing Chun and Katori Shintoryu. Those are the arts that I study the most. But a lot of it's going to be Orthodox Christianity. And mind you, I want to make perfectly clear that I'm not a priest. I'm not a deacon. I am merely a catechumen. But I've done a lot of study beforehand, and I keep getting these ideas or thoughts that I may have something relevant to say, and I hope I don't get ridiculed. That's the common thing. But I want I want my channel to represent a lay person, but who's serious about their Christianity, but has also gone through a sinful life, and is wishing to repent and speak about a lot of the problems that I have and a lot of the thoughts that I have, as well as I've had pretty unique spiritual experiences. Like Orthodox Christians will understand a lot of the stuff I'm talking about. It may be a little bit like you guys are probably going to be skeptical of what I say, but I'm absolutely being honest, and I've spoken to my priest about it, and will continue to speak to my priest about it. I have had personal experiences of the hesychastic light, and I've also had experiences of when I was a Buddhist before I converted. I had what would be called stream entry or Satori experiences. I have previous initiations into Zen and Dzogchen and Karma Kagyu. That's before I converted to Orthodoxy. I have been serious in everything that I followed. I wasn't exactly a dabbler. I spent the last decade and a half, or closer to 2 decades now, studying, practicing, and through that, I've seen a lot of overlap. For example, before I believed in Christ, I interpreted my experience of the light that I had seen through the lens of Kundalini Yoga and Dzogchen. Well, not Kundalini Yoga. I would say it's actually more from the lineage of Robert Bruce, who has he's also known as Astro Bob, and he teaches astral projection and psychic self-defense and energy work, and when he says, he calls the what the Orthodox Christians would call the hesychastic light, he would call that a mind's eye strobe. I don't think he fully understands what that is, and sees it as as a little more insignificant than a Christian would see that. Also, the concept in Buddhism, the clear light. That's a term that's also used in Orthodox Christianity. We call it the clear, uncreated light. The light of Tabor, the hesychastic light, right? And what this is a visual representation that you see internally. Like, this is something that I've noticed that when you talk to people, they don't realize that it's not going to be something that you see out here, right? It's not going to give, it's going to be internal. The kingdom of heaven is within, right? And it's extremely, I can see it right now even. Like, first time I saw it, never went away. I've seen it consistently for 13 years. Since December 20, around Christmas time in 2012. That was a big deal going on at the time, guys. Like, the whole end of the year thing and end of the world thing. I mean, the Mayan thing. It was like, what's funny is that actually, they actually say that that would be the return of Quetzalcoatl, and that it would also be marked by a star, a light, right? And what's funny is this light, the hesychastic light, is also it's mentioned by Buddha, and he says that anyone who sees this star and it looks like a star. It absolutely looks exactly like the at least the first time I saw it. It looked exactly like the Star of David, right? A blue light, right, with perfect Star David, right? That was the first time I saw it. When it got bigger and like got more pronounced, and like one time it was so pronounced. Like right now it's like a little dot, but one night it got so big that it looked like a giant crystal rose window. You know, like in a Catholic church. There's a really nice one in the Grace, not Grace Cathedral in San Francisco, but yeah, they have a good one. But Notre Dame in France, they have a nice one. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's what I saw. And you can tell that those people were having this hesychastic vision. It's sad that the Catholics lost that recently, like within the last 1,000 years is recent in my mind. But this it starts off, and what's funny is you can see art of it everywhere. Like it started off as the Star David, got really pronounced as like a rose window looking thing. It even looks like kind of like the yantras and the mandalas in Buddhism and Hinduism, Shaivism. They have mention of it in Secret of the Golden Flower. A good translation of that book is the Thomas Clary, by the way, not the Carl Jung, which I don't disagree with, but I don't align myself with a lot of Jungian things. I'm more Pageauian in my symbolism, though I did like a lot of Jungian ideas, but what I'm saying is you can see this in art all throughout religious history. And controversially, this is gonna piss people off. There's an image that is perfectly recognizable. Oh God, you guys, I hate this. The light that I saw, it became at one point a green triangle, right? And it looked like a G. Within a G, within a G, within a G, it looks like a triangular tunnel. And I'm looking down that, and all of a sudden, an eye of light. Let thine eye be single, and thy whole body shall be full of light. And an eye of light opened up within this green triangle, and it looked at me, and I immediately knew this is God's eye, and this is as much of God as I'm going to be able to see. I knew that it could see me. I knew I wasn't separate from it. And you know that idea is definitely going to bring up thoughts of the Illuminati and the Masons and all this shit, right? Excuse my language. But what do Satanists do? They take a symbol or an idea or something and they twist it, like the swastika, right? In India, it was essentially their cross. They turned it on its side, and then it became the Nazi thing. And then what did the Satanists do with the pentacle, right? They turned it upside down. And then they just turned upside down the cross, not understanding that that's the Peter's cross. But that's their common motif is, oh, we're going to reverse and invert things. Like, I'm going to try to work with Jonathan Pageau's double inversion thing. Try and take back the things that they have taken from us. So because those symbols aren't inherently evil. The eye of providence is used in churches as a symbol of God, of the Father. You know what I mean? It may not be right to do so, but in Catholicism, I'm not Catholic, but they do that in some churches. You look up on the top of the ceiling, and there'll be that eye and the triangle looking down. And yeah. So, on that note, where it's they try and invert things and convert things from good to evil and use our things for their things and and what they do is by associating that stuff with them so much that it becomes like a way to deceive and confuse, right? To now that's their thing, now that's ours. How they a good example is something an actually intelligent statement said from a guy who's clearly evil, but saying something good. But saying something good to mean something bad. It's the Thelema Creed. Which is love is the law, love under will. No. To do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. And correctly understood, do as thou wilt doesn't mean do whatever you want. It's do whatever the true will intends, right? And that true will is usually the will of the holy guardian angel, or which is according to Aleister Crowley, an aspect of your higher self. In the Hermetic tradition that I studied, we don't call the holy guardian angel, we don't call it that. We call it the higher genius. guy named Rubophilos talks about this. He's in the same tradition that I'm from, that I was from. I'm now Orthodox, but he taught my teacher, Aetherius, which is that's his name. His real name is Michael something. But you can look them up at transcendenceworks.com and ordoethereum.org. I don't know, .org.com. You'll find it. That's if you're interested. I don't think you should be doing that, but if you want to. But yeah, the axiom, do as thou wilt. I think, do as thou wilt. God, as God wills, shall be the whole of the law. Right? Love is the law. Love under the will of God. Right? And then, bang, reinterpreted. Then the whole thing comes back to being a good thing. Like if you just kick Aleister Crowley and his satanic bullshit out of Thelema, and you just fucking banish the devil from it and take all the stuff that he thought that he came up with, just get rid of all the garbage, right? And like, but keep certain aspects, like maybe like the Kabbalah. Kabbalah actually helped me get to orthodoxy. That'll be, I guess that's going to be another video. But I'm going to have, I have about 10 more minutes. But I'm going to keep my videos to like half-hour segments. But if you do that, and if you reinterpret every tradition, and you say, okay, I'm going to kick the devil out of this shit, and I'm going to only do this in the context of Christian morals, Christian values, Christian theology, Christian principles, philosophy, all that, and just look for Christ in everything instead of looking for the devil in everything. You can, doing that is like the keys of the universe. It's like Martin Shaw said something that like really opened my eyes. He was having a conversation with Jonathan Pageau on a channel, I think it was called a channel called More Christ. Can't remember. But he said something that like Christianity is paganism in its perfection. And now I went, wow. And that there was also there's another channel that they were doing a review on the book, this book actually, Christ the Eternal Tao. I'm actually putting my phone on top of it. They were doing a review on that, and they said Christ is the fulfillment of all the promises of previous religions, right? Christ is the Tao. Christ is the ultimate Buddha, like the ultimate, like he gives us nirvana, he gives us moksha, he gives us all the promises of the Eastern mystics, and all those things are fulfilled in Christ. And if you reinterpret and recontextualize all of their stuff, you can see where they were right and where they were wrong. There's a saint who wouldn't let his disciples even read scripture before they had mastered their own traditional stories and traditions, right? In context of Christianity, right? And then if you can see, I wish I knew this saint right now, because I would easily just like bam, gives me more credibility. But using Christ as the lens in which you interpret all things. We shouldn't be acting like the rest of Christendom. We should be using Christ as the lens to interpret the world, the key to the universe, right? You know? And then we can see what was right, what was wrong. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at the practical teachings of hesychastic prayer, right? Using a prayer rope is a lot like a mala, right? Exactly like a mala, really. Come on, guys. And you say prayer on each thing, right? Closing your eyes, using breath in time with the prayer, right? And even say you did it like this. You say the prayer, and then you try and develop it. Every time your mind wanders and thinks and starts to think and go, loses its silence and it starts to wander and things, you repeat the prayer, and then don't keep going. Say you don't keep doing, Yeshua, Son of God, have mercy upon me, a sinner, right? And you, if you don't keep like repeating it over and over and over, like Buddhists would, kind of like the pagans would, right? And you use it to recontextualize your thought and develop that internal hesychia, silence, internal silence, and that internal quiet, right? And then use that. Really, that's one-to-one with the traditional practice of hesychasm, but that's also an exact description of transcendental meditation, or it's also an exact description of centering prayer from the Trappist Thomas Keating works in the Western tradition. There's a lot. I know I just kind of went on a ramble. That's what a lot of that's what I'm gonna do, is a lot of rambling. But I want people to think that there's, more connection, and we should be making disciples of all men and all nations. We shouldn't be going out there and forcing them to be white. Forcing them to be like us. We should be like, okay, what in your culture, say we went to Tibet and we fucking we're trying to convert all of Tibetan Buddhism. Um, we could go there and be like, okay, we need to. So during your conversion, what can we preserve and baptize? What can we, what has God been growing in you? We don't want to just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay? And I want to be sure that I'm not advocating, I am not advocating syncretism. I'm not saying worship Buddha or worship Shiva and Christ. I'm saying no, that there are philosophical aspects and things that they did that were consistent with what we do. And, you know, honestly, maybe we even took things from them over time. Like, do you really think that the prayer rope was invented by Christians? I'll tell you no. That the concept of counting beads, or now knots on a rope, but the concept of counting beads in a meditative form, prayerful form, has been being used in India for nearly 5,000 years. So we have overlap. We need to see what is right in them and convert their souls and baptize their culture and make them Christian and the whole culture Christian, rather than trying to force them to be exactly like Russian Christianity or Greek Christianity or Roman Catholicism. Like, get that out of here. I hope you guys understand what I mean. Yeshua, Son of the living God, have mercy upon us all.